It is showtime. We are live in the Circle Leadership headquarters studio here on Whiteboard Wednesdays with Dave, and we are going to be talking about my ultimate favorite subject in the world, purpose. Now, it's an interesting thing. I've been having a lot of conversations with people about purpose, not surprisingly, but lately some really deep and meaningful conversations, not about purpose itself, but my sense of purpose and why I do the work that I do in this world as an individual, and then why we created Circle Leadership as a result of that. And talking to people and thinking about all the famous people in the world today who espouse about purpose and having a why and everything like that. I was asked on an interview on a podcast over the weekend in Sydney about this, and I guess I hadn't reflected on it much. To me, it's just what I've been doing for so long now. But I've actually crafted my first purpose statement, worked with a client to craft their very first purpose statement back 22 years ago. So for 22 years now, been working with leaders, business owners, etc., to uncover the purpose of their organization. So it's not something I've just been doing recently. It's also, I guess, if you look at my LinkedIn profile, my Facebook profile, everything like my Instagram, my Twitter, it all says profit for purpose. And that was something that I came up with probably 10 or 12 years ago in terms of who I needed to become, in order to fulfill my own sense of purpose, to create and inspire 90 million purpose-driven leaders in this world. So to create and inspire purpose-driven leaders is my personal sense of purpose. Who I needed to become then was the prophet for purpose. And that is a prophet is an inspired teacher, leader of a cause or a calling. And so I want to be that for purpose. And then I just got onto the ground, got my boots on, and then started working with organizations for the past 22 years, crafting those purpose statements. And we're going to show you how we do that today. And then really just started, being the practitioner of such. Never sought the fame or notoriety for being that. And this was interesting, and this all just came out on the podcast I was interviewed on the weekend. And for me, just a practitioner, boots on the ground, been doing this for 22 years in multiple countries around the world, clients across Australia, New Zealand, UK, Canada, United States, working with people on their purpose. And so hopefully when you go through this, you understand the way that we've been able to create a simple model that you can start to uncover your own sense of purpose. We're going to run through that today. But I want to talk a lot more about purpose first before we get into the model in today's whiteboard session. So a couple of things I want to really make sure that people understand. There's this concept around purpose in business. There's kind of like two purposes. So if you're a business owner, leader, CEO, whatever of an organization, there's your purpose for having a business, and then there's the purpose of the business. So what we're going to talk about today is the purpose of the business, not your purpose for having a business. Now, your purpose for having a business might be as simple as, hey, I want to have a better lifestyle for my family. I want to have something that I can own and control or do whatever it is that you want to do, whatever your reasons are. That's your purpose for having a business. It is not the purpose of the business. And the business, the organization, is its own entity. It's its own thing. You created that to solve a problem. You saw an opportunity in the world, or saw an opportunity in your world, where you thought, if I did this, I could solve that problem for people possibly better than somebody else who's already doing it, or solve something that other people aren't thinking about. So let's lead right into that right now, and saying that, well, purpose actually is the problem that you're passionate about solving. The purpose of business is not making money. Now, I understand a lot of people will find that challenging. The purpose of business is not to make money. The purpose of business is to solve problems for other people's. And through that, you make money. Money is a byproduct of you living your purpose every day. You want to make lots of money, simple way to do it, solve lots of problems for lots of people. You want to make gobloads of money, solve lots of big problems for lots of people. This is how you can make money. Purpose, though, is the problem that you're passionate about solving for those people, through which you make money. And of course, money to a business is like oxygen to us as human beings. You need it to survive, but you weren't born just to breathe. So when you think about this here, nobody jumps out of bed in the morning and goes, gee, I can't wait to make the boss rich today. I'm so excited about that. People want to get out of bed with a sense of meaning to their lives, a sense of purpose to the work that they're doing. And ideally, that's what your business can be for people, is a reason for them to come to work, to get up and do something and find a sense of meaning in the work they're doing through your organization. So, firstly, purpose is not money, and it's not why you have the business. It's the purpose of the business that we're talking about. Now, you would have heard me say this a couple times already about uncovering the purpose. A lot of businesses haven't bothered to write out their purpose statement. And I really believe that your purpose is already there somewhere. And it's not like you have to create a brand new purpose for your organization, rarely a case. There's already a purpose for your business. Excuse me. Much like a sculptor, if I had a big lump of clay right here or whatever, and I wanted to start carving away at it or concrete chiseling away at it, am I chiseling away at it to create that statue, or scraping away to create that statue? Or am I chipping and carving away to reveal the statue that's already inside there? Now, if you speak to a professional sculptor, they will tell you that they already see the statue inside the clay or the concrete that they're chiseling away at. And I think the same thing applies to our purpose. And it is sitting there inside your business, but we've covered up with all this gunk and systems and operations and you name it, everything like that. And we've taken our focus off why we do what we do. We've become so busy organizing the business, we've lost sight of the business of the organization, why this business exists. All right, so please understand that. Are you focused on organizing the business, or are you focused on the business of the organization? It's a critical thing to understand, because the business of the organization is to passionately solve problems for your people, for the people that you choose to serve. And that is your purpose. Also, please understand that purpose is the seed of culture. It is the something to believe in. It is the first thing of the three things that people look for when working in an organization. So purpose is the seed of culture. It is also the number one decision-making filter for your organization. Does this serve our purpose, yes or no? Now, in many organizations, you'll find, will this help us make money, yes or no? And if not, then why are we doing it? So I understand that, but please understand also that when you try to be everything to everybody, you end up becoming nothing to somebody, right? Become something to someone. So when you're looking at your decision-making filter, purpose should be your first decision-making filter. Does this serve our purpose, yes or no? If not, it should get rejected. It can come back in another form or whatever, but in its current form, no, that does not serve our purpose. So it's the first decision-making filter. It's the seed of culture. Please also understand that purpose, it will define you, but it will not confine you. So it's really important. It'll define you in terms of why you do what you do in this world, but it does not confine you in how or what you do to deliver that. So speaking with a bunch of young entrepreneurs recently, a few weeks back in Melbourne, we were talking about this. And when you get your purpose really clear, it tells you why you do what you do. But that why will remain for a very, very long time, no doubt. What will change, what possibly can change, is what you do and how you do it. When you have a strong enough why, there will be many hows and many whats. So your purpose is there to define you, not to confine you. So these are some things we need to understand. The other last part, before I jump into, there's two models I want to share with you. One is the relationship with the customer model, that where purpose fits into that, and then looking at how to actually uncover and craft your purpose statement. So the last part to understand is not to confuse. So speaking with these young entrepreneurs, is they were telling me like the purpose of their business is to create this thing that they created. And I said, no, that's what you've created there is how you're demonstrating that purpose to the world, not the actual purpose of your business. Your purpose statement just answers why you do what you do. It doesn't say how or through or with or whatever. It just says, here's why we do what we do in this world. Now hold that thought, because that's going to become important in the first model I'm going to share with you. I want to just give you a simple example. So it was an acquaintance of mine many years ago, caught up with him up in Geraldton, and he was talking about his business, and his business purpose was it's a bookkeeping service. It was a bookkeeping organization, and he said, Dave, our purpose of our business is to build happier businesses through better bookkeeping. So that was their purpose statement that they had created. And they're looking at, how they're going to be able to evolve their business and expand it. And the interesting part of that was, as you look at, I'm going to have to acquire these things. I said, mate, where in there does it say that you actually have to do the bookkeeping? The other thing is, well, it doesn't. Happier businesses are better bookkeeping. You could create a whole training arm for bookkeepers. You could show people how to do it, work with bookkeepers in organizations rather than having to find more bookkeepers for your own business. So when I talk about it defining you but not confining you, please understand purpose creates opportunity for you. So there's so much here about purpose, and I'm just trying to give you some highlights and some ideas and some thoughts about purpose in organizations and why it's so important that you understand what your purpose is. Okay? It's the problem that you're passionate about solving. It's the seed of culture. It's the first decision-making filter. It defines you. It does not confine you. Now, the first part I want to share with you, I'm going to jump over the whiteboard now, is I want to talk to you about the relationship between purpose and your customers. All right, so let's have a look at this. The exciting part about purpose here is that purpose, what it asks of you is it requires you to be honest about why you do what you do. Because when you put that purpose out into the world where people can see, here's why we do what we do, everyone can see it now, and you can be held to account to that. So it's going to require you to be honest about why you do what you do. Now, the exciting part of this, though, that is honesty here is the thing that builds trust, right? So if you think about it, honesty is what builds trust. Now, trust, as we all know, is the key to relationships. So if you want to have better relationships with your clients, then they need to be able to trust you. The way they can trust you is by you being honest about why you do what you do. And we know that relationships, the stronger the relationships are and the stronger the connection back to purpose for the client is where loyalty comes from. So this is the importance of purpose, right? Purpose requires you to be honest. Honesty builds trust. Trust is the key to relationships. And the stronger those relationships are and in alignment to your purpose of your organization, that's where you build loyalty. And to me, loyalty is beyond trust. Okay? So people can trust, that you do a good job, trust that you have great products and services and things like that. But loyalty is when your clients will stick with you through thick and thin. And we are blessed at Circle Leadership to have so many loyal clients. We've had some that have been with us since we first started over 5 years ago. Who are still with us today. And that is built on loyalty, our loyalty to them and their loyalty to us as an organization, because we are brutally honest about why we do what we do in this world to help them to evolve and stay relevant in the hearts and minds of people they choose to serve. And this is how you can use purpose in your organization. So this is the first thing I wanted to share with you, that this is the importance of purpose when you express it outwardly to the world. But let's talk about then, how do you actually craft your purpose? That's why you're all here. That's why you're watching this, because you want to know how to do this. Okay, so here's the model that we use with our clients. So firstly, understand that the first part of solving your purpose or creating your purpose model for your organization is, what is it that your business is passionate about? Okay. So it is your passion. So whatever our business or our organization is passionate about, what are we really passionate about? Now, I'm going to show you an example of this in a moment. I'm just going to run through the model, then I'm going to flick back and show you the actual, I'll give you an example of a client that we've done this for. I'll probably just keep it there. All right, so this is your passion. So where your passion collides with their problem, this right in the center here, this is where your purpose lies. So purpose lies at the crossroads of your passion and their problem. Now, I know many of you may have seen the Ikigai model that I think it was the Japanese used to discover purpose, and totally understand that. You can look it through that model here. This is a simpler model that we use with all our clients too, and this is the model is the original format in which I drew it up back in 2001 when I sat down with Tim Gleason at LTL Expedited Air. Tim, if you're watching this, this all began with you. There's two models that actually started with Tim and LTL Expedited Air. One was actually this in terms of helping them create their purpose statement for their organization. And secondly, the circle of organizational leadership over here behind me. When Tim asked, okay, great, now I have this sense of purpose. How do I get everyone connected to this purpose? And then that's how the circle of organizational leadership was created. But we'll talk about that one at another time. But this here, so this is your purpose model. So you have to work out what is it that your organization is passionate about, and where that collides with their problem. Right at the crossroads of that is where your purpose is. So your purpose will come out of that crossover there. Now, how do you do this? So how do you work through this list or the thing? So first, I actually want to talk about one thing that's really important first, and that is passion. What does passion mean to you? Now, when I ask this of leaders and business owners, and that we get most of the modern definitions of passion, which is, all things love your work, the things that we love to do here, they give us great joy when you're in your genius zone, all this sort of stuff, which is fantastic. What drives you, and these are all correct. But if you go to the root of the word passion, or the etymology of the word passion, what it means is to suffer. And if you've ever heard of Passion of the Christ, right? So Passion of the Christ is passion is to suffer. What are you willing to suffer for or through? Now, please understand, when we put this into business context, we're not saying that, business, you should suffer, but it's your ability to endure. So when we look at your passion, if you're not passionate about it, what are you likely to do? And in business, when things get tough and challenges come our way, whether it's through systems, processes, people, clients, you name it, whatever it is, the market, the economy, you name it, if you're not passionate about what you're doing, you're likely to give up. Remember, with a strong enough why, there's many hows and many whats. So if you're not passionate about the work that you're doing, you're likely to give up. And this is why passion is one of the key ingredients to purpose, but not in the love your work kind of way. So when we talk about passion, is what are you willing to endure? What is it you're really passionate about that you would not give up on? All right. And then when we look at where that hits with their problem in terms of the people that you want to stay relevant in the hearts and minds of, right? So those people that you want to stay relevant in the hearts and minds of, what is it? What is the real problem that you're solving for them? Okay. And so what you'll do here with this purpose model is we challenge you then to make a list of all the things that you think that you're passionate about in your organization. Right? And then make a list of all the problems that you think that you're solving for your clients. And I guarantee you, because it happens every time, that when you look at those lists, there will be a common theme that runs through them, right? There'll be a common theme that runs through them all. And all you need to do is find the two common themes, the common theme about the passion that's coming out there and the common theme behind the problem. Because a lot of the problems you'll share are probably symptoms, not the root cause of the problem. So let me give you a very simple example of this, and we'll use my good friend, Dr. Steve Rallis, which started off with health score, but is now wellness doctor. And when we sat down with his leadership team all across Canada, we met in Ottawa. We had this big day about, really getting their culture straight and lined and defined so that they could expand the organization. But we hadn't got that sense of purpose clearly defined at this stage. We hadn't uncovered that clearly. So I asked them, please understand, they're chiropractors, naturopaths, nurses, phlebotomists, etc. And we listed all the things they were really passionate about. And in the end, when we looked at that summary of what those things that they were really passionate about, what it came down to was that they were really passionate about preventative and proactive healthcare. Okay, so everything they did was preventative and proactive. So things they were all passionate about came down to the fact that it was just all about preventative and proactive healthcare. Now, when they looked at the problem that the people they choose to serve and stay relevant in the hearts and minds of, the problem that they had, there was all these problems, but when we summarize it all up, what we realized is that, shrinking here, people were taking action too late on their health. So we really are passionate about preventative and proactive healthcare. But our people we choose to serve, they're taking action too late. They're waiting till they have a health problem to actually do something about their health. So when you sit there and you think, okay, cool. So where does this preventative, proactive healthcare thought process and passion come when it crashes across people taking action on their health too late? So why does the wellness doctor exist? Well, here you go. Wellness doctor exists to save lives ahead of time. Excuse me. I might need to go save my life ahead of time. All right. So the wellness doctor exists to save lives ahead of time. 5 words that clearly articulates why wellness doctor exists. The problem it's passionate about solving in this world today. Now, if I told you, hey, we're a bunch of chiropractors, naturopaths, phlebotomists, nurses, etc. We'd love you to come with us, crack some backs, draw some blood, give some natural, remedies and things like that to people, and join our organization. You go, oh, yeah, that sounds really interesting. Or said, hey, we're a collective of preventative and proactive healthcare professionals who are saving lives ahead of time. We'd love you to come be a part of our team. Which one do you think sounds more engaging? Now, here's the interesting part, because purpose is there to engage people, right? So if you can articulate clearly and forcefully on every occasion why your organization exists and be honest about that and build the trust and build the relationships and create the loyalty back to your purpose, that you're here to save lives ahead of time. And it should be your number one decision-making filter, of course. So will this help us save lives ahead of time? Yes or no? So this organization has the ability, which it was always there. We just scraped away all the gunk to remove it all, to go, here is the perfect statue of this organization to save lives ahead of time. It is the seed of culture. This is why we all get out of bed to come to work every day. It's the first decision-making filter for that organization. So when you think about this now, it defines them. It doesn't confine them. It doesn't say how they do it and what they do and when they do it. It just says why we do what we do. So they have this really clear sense of purpose for their organization now. So in your organization, what is your save lives ahead of time? How are you engaging people in your organization? And when we say that purpose is the seed of culture, culture is the ultimate filter for talent. Culture is a magnet. It can attract and repel the people to your organization, the ones that you want and the ones that don't want to be a part of it. So if you have this very clear statement in terms of saving lives ahead of time, that you understand this is why we do what we do, and this defines us but does not confine us, and this is something that's exciting to you and would make you want to get out of bed every morning, it will engage you. Now, please understand, if you're married, usually you got engaged because you were in love. People get engaged when they're in love. They propose marriage to somebody when they're in love. And so we want that same sense of feeling with the organizations we work for the purpose of the work that we do in this world. I want to get engaged because I'm in love with why we do what we do. Can you imagine when everybody is in love with why you do what you do? Your team, your customers, your stakeholders, like the suppliers, strategic partners for your business. Everybody loves why you do what you do for the people you choose to serve in this world. The other part of purpose here that's really important to remember that really gets talked about is, if you can't do this for yourself, it doesn't matter what you can do for anyone else. So if Dr. Steve and his team can't save lives ahead of time for his own team, it doesn't matter what he can do for the world or for the people that they choose to serve. So when you look at your purpose statement, one of the acid tests is, does it apply to all stakeholders in our business, starting with ourselves? Because most organizations are creating their purpose statements for outwardly facing, right? They're trying to put all, our purpose is to solve this for our customers. And no, this is why your business exists, to save lives ahead of time. It should apply to your customers. It should apply to your suppliers, stakeholders, your team. It should apply to everybody. Okay, so that's one of the acid tests of a great purpose statement. So there you go. So you understand now why purpose is so important in your business, and the difference between having a purpose for a business and having the purpose of the business. Okay. So this is, if you're looking at what is the purpose of our business, like why does our business exist? Not why do I have a business? Look at what you're most passionate about as an organization. Make that list, summarize it into one thing. Then look at what is the problem we're here to solve for people. Why did we start this? What was the problem we saw that we thought we could solve for people? And you make your list, and then you summarize and go, this is the real problem. And then where those two things collide, You'll start playing with the words, and in 10 words or less, you should be able to articulate to me in 10 words or less why your business exists. And then when you get that very clear, you can now be honest with the world as to why you do what you do. Not how or what you do, but this is why we do what we do. This is why we come to work every day. This is why we get out of bed every day. And that honesty will build trust with the market. That trust will then build relationships with customers. That depth of relationships that you'll be able to build with those clients will build loyalty back to your purpose. So there you go. From the Prophet for Purpose himself, here's a whole bunch of stuff on purpose. There's so much more I could go in on this subject, but please understand, get your purpose clear. 10 words or less, the problem you're passionate about solving, get your team engaged in that. Watch the live stream I did last week, the Whiteboard Wednesdays with Dave. Last week, we talked about how to build a depth of engagement and create everyone to have a personal connection to this public sense of purpose. So now we're talking about how to craft that purpose. Now you know how to do that. Once you have that in place, then go back to the video that I did last week, and then you'll learn how to connect all your people to purpose. For those of you who are in Perth and you'd like to learn more about purpose in your organization and culture, we have an event on November 1st coming up, the Culture Forum here in Perth, where we're going to be talking about purpose, values, vision, mission, how to create the framework for your organization, and how to give people something to believe in, someone to believe in them, and someone they can believe in, and also how to get everyone excited about building the organization that'll bring all that into reality. So November 1st, be down here on LinkedIn. I'll put the link to the event here if you're there. Geraldton on November 3rd. And if you're interested and you're not in any of those cities, you'd like us to bring the Culture Forum to your location, just put there, tell me where you are in the world, and we'll see if we can get something set up in wherever you are in the world. We'd love to take this Culture Forum around the world and help people to build amazing cultures, invincible cultures that capture the spirit of people and build a sustainable competitive advantage for your organization. So if that's of interest to you, take a look at that event. Other than that, we'll see you next Wednesday for Whiteboard Wednesdays with Dave. We might even jump into values. Let's talk about values next week.